All right, good morning and happy end of October, everybody. Um, Looking forward to the rest of the year, the crazy hustle and bustle of the holidays. I'm going to talk about that a little bit here in a bit, but I wanted to go over a few of the questions that were brought up this past month in some of the chats or that were sent to me. And as anyone hops on, if they're going to talk about or ask anything, we'll go over that too. So first and foremost, just want to remind everybody that we do also have our B community monthly gatherings where Lindsay or myself discuss all kinds of topics related to motherhood. I think we're going to be talking about maybe next month is intimacy or returning to intimacy after baby. And then I think we're going to talk in November about navigating the holidays as a mom, maybe a new mom, or just stressors in general as a parent. So those are just great monthly conversations that we have that, kind of relate to everybody. We also are going to resume our monthly guest speakers in Beat Community. So we have some awesome ones lined up starting in the new year. So just make sure if you're part of the Beat Community, you get access to those calls. If you're in any of our other programs and you want access to those, make sure you shoot us an email, info@birthfit.com, and we can share that info with you. Okay, so let's hop in. Two main things that I wanted to discuss today in relation to questions that were sent my way this month. One was on kind of just postpartum timeline, when to reincorporate more movement and, BirthFit basics, lying in basics, and then postpartum training. So if you have peeped our postpartum programs or package, it starts with lying in. And this is going to be a program that you can start some as early as the first week postpartum, days postpartum. And then some, maybe if you had maybe a more complicated / intervention filled birth, might need a little bit more time to just cover in that immediate cesarean, things like that. They'll usually start sometimes a week to 2 weeks postpartum. But that program is meant to be started early. And honestly, it's meant to just really honor that first month of lying in co-regulation with baby, but also giving you some mindful, intentional things that you can do to kickstart healing, which starts just very simple, to not a ton of movement. It's more lying in, having baby on you, skin to skin, but some physical touch, belly massage, just restoring kind of sensation, feeling, blood flow to the womb, and activating that internally with our breath, things like that. Lots of just tapping and nervous system regulating things to support you there. Usually about 3.5 to 4 weeks postpartum is when women start the basics. And that is a 4-week program if you did it every day. Most people do it every other day or so, depending on life and what they want to do. But I will say the first 2 weeks of that, very slow. The second half of that, weeks 3 and 4, kind of double in intensity. This is all going to be minimal equipment. No equipment, I should say, can be done inside, takes 20 minutes, but you're going to start moving through ranges of motion that you do every day. Squatting, picking something up off the ground like your baby. So we'll do some hinging, some lunging, some push-ups, just some basic body movements in addition to our basics for that early core and pelvic floor rehab. And then that will transition you. And gosh, I remember being just so sore doing the basics workouts. It just kind of wakes everything back up. And then we get into postpartum training, which is 12-week program, kind of slowly and intentionally in 4-week blocks, so 3-4 week blocks, getting you back into regular strength and conditioning like a full movement index, to where at the completion of that, you would feel ready to resume not just resume any sort of fitness, but feel confident going back to a gym, a group setting, lifting weights, things like that. You're going to get your legs back under you. You're going to build some strength from a solid foundation. You're going to get more dynamic, adding more intensity, breathing heavy, all of that fun stuff. So anyways, that is kind of the gist of that postpartum timeline. And I just wanted to go through that to remind you that it doesn't have to be exactly like I mentioned. You could be 3 months postpartum and just starting basics. You could be a year postpartum and starting basics. But I would say if you've done nothing at all and you need healing, core pelvic floor healing and recovery, always start with basics. It's going to be your foundation, and it would be no different than having an injury or a setback and needing to do rehab before you can start to incorporate more heavy, dynamic, intense things. The second thing that I wanted to bring up was reminders on the one question that I get asked a lot, and it came up twice this month, was slam balls. What do we do if we don't have a slam ball? So I'm just going to address it here so that it's on video. I just want to always say that if you don't have certain equipment or you can't make a movement happen, I want you to really think about it with like, what is the stimulus and purpose of this movement? Because what you replace it with doesn't always have to look exactly like that. Now, that said, this is a tricky one because it's a slam ball. And the thing that I always want to be accomplished on a slam ball is that aggressive hip closure. And so I'm not squatting down, I'm slamming the ball down. And when I do that, it's almost like a hinge position. So I'm taking the ball from over my head and I'm slamming it this way. So almost like a flat back, bringing chest to knees, and then bringing it back up, driving through the legs. So I'm looking for that explosive hip closing, opening back up. If you don't, so the weight on that is not as important. If you don't have a ball that's 15, 20 pounds, but you have a ball that's 5, slam the hell out of it. That's fine. I'm looking more for the movement than I am the weight. So we always say if you have a cushion or a pillow that you want to slam, that works great too. If you have nothing of the sort, I would focus more on like a heavier Russian kettlebell swing, something that's really going to force you to close those hips back. If the goal in the slam ball is passing through the squat, it will say that, but ultimately I'm always looking for that hip closure and that hip opening, more of a hinge position. So I just wanted to get that down here. Okay, those were my main 2 questions that I wanted to discuss. And I know that I have a couple people on that are just listening that didn't necessarily have questions. But what I did want to discuss, one second. Quick hug from my little one. What I did want to discuss is mindset and feelings around holidays coming up, because we are very much in that season. And if you've ever felt it before, which I'm sure you have, once after September, it's just like the end of the year, just you blink and it's done. You have, the Halloween, the fall festivities going into Thanksgiving, which goes into Christmas to New Year's, and then you blink and January's here. And life just, for me, sometimes feels a little bit out of control. I get out of routine. There's a lot of, I should say, socialization that's sometimes needed, but sometimes not as healthy, depending on family situations and things like that, as well as just the food is different, your routine is different, things like that. So I wanted to address a few things here that I think are important and that really help me this time of year. And then we'll hop off. So first and foremost, my non-negotiables for this season, especially, and my hope is that these are non-negotiables for me always now, but it's habit building. And if we can do it during these tougher seasons, it's going to be really easy to resume that as the year goes on. So a couple, or I should say a list of things that I really like to pay attention to. 15 to 30 minutes a day outside. And that's regardless of the weather. I know it gets really cold in some areas. It's really rainy in some. It's still really hot here. But 15 to 30 minutes a day outside and just getting, I mean, I think the best thing that you can do for your circadian rhythm, it's going to help with metabolism, is getting 15 minutes of sunlight in your eyeballs in the morning. That could be on your way to drop kids off at school. That could be intentional sitting outside, even when it's cloudy. If you can avoid sunglasses in the morning and just get sunshine in your eyeballs, it's going to set you up for success, your energy, the rest of the day. But I like 15 to 30 minutes a day outside. Bonus if you can do that walking, and double bonus if you can do that disconnected from a cell phone or social media, anything like that. So morning sunlight and grounding is wonderful. Getting your feet in the grass, going for a barefoot walk, just really connecting with the earth, but inward. And so that's a great time to just do some easy meditation. For me, it's usually getting clear with my breath. So starting to just come inward, feel my breath, hear my breath. And then I like to just do 5 senses. So if I'm walking and maybe I have the kids, so I can't totally disconnect, but I'm going through, what do I see? What do I taste? What do I smell? What do I hear? What do I feel? And I'm just kind of, it helps me be in my body. It helps me be present. So those are things that can really help start off your day. Lots and lots of water with minerals. Remember, we want to be hydrating on a cellular level. So if you're drinking tap water, message me on ways to stop. But if you are drinking reverse osmosis water, you're drinking water void of minerals. So let's get our minerals in. Aussie Trace Minerals is an easy one that you can order from Amazon. Element packs, we sell those through some of our links at BIRTHFIT. You can hop on Amazon as well for those, but just getting some additional minerals so that you're not, if you're only drinking water, you can actually be more dehydrated than hydrated. So I would say, especially first thing in the morning, just down a large glass of water, but keep those minerals steady through the day. I would say making movement a priority, but intensity, not as much priority. Yeah. So within the motherhood transition, sometimes you're in the first trimester right now, and metabolic conditioning, just, sweating, beating yourself up for 30 minutes doesn't sound good, nor do we have the time or the energy, especially in this season, to do it. Let's prioritize movement. Let's not prioritize the intensity. And what I like to do is I like to ask myself, what is the likeliness that I can get 4 workouts in a week? If that's 10 out of 10, I'm going to do it. If that's 4 out of 10, then what is the likeliness I could get 3 workouts in a week? Okay, more like 7 out of 10. What is the likeliness I could get 2 workouts in? 10 out of 10. Okay, dead set. I'm going to get my 2 workouts in a week, but I'm also going to add that additional one if I can, or commit to more walking. So find something that works for you. Don't set yourself up with like, I need to move or I need to exercise every single day. If you know that that's not attainable and it's not going to fit in for your lifestyle right now, but you try to set yourself up to, it's just going to feel like a letdown when you don't do it. So I like to think about workouts as money in the bank. Sometimes it's $1. Other times I'm depositing $100, right? We have different things each day that we're able to offer with our energy, but everything is money in the bank. We're adding to it every single time we go in. So for me, this season is a lot more zone 2 cardio, 30 minutes of just steady movement. My mouth is closed. I'm breathing through my nose. It's conversational. I'm getting a sweat, but I'm not huffing and puffing. That just feels better in my body. The days that I feel good, I push the intensity a little bit. Days that I don't feel good, I'm not mad when I take a 30-minute nap on the couch while my kids are napping in the afternoon. So find what works for you movement-wise and do it consistently, but don't set yourself up for failure, feeling like you need to do more than you're capable of in this season. 2 other things that I have on here: journal, prayer, breath, or meditation. Whatever works for you to take 10 minutes a day alone. And just ask yourself, what's coming up? How am I feeling? What do I need? What's not serving me in this season? You have no idea how beneficial that can be. For me, it's like, can I get a bath time in? Or can I get my husband to take the kids for a walk so I can have 10 minutes of silence to just focus on myself? Because I won't do it if my kids are around. So for some that's journaling, for some that's prayer time, for some that's just breath, using your basics. It could be movement, it could just be lying down, breathing, whatever it is, or any sort of meditation that works for you. That's a non-negotiable for me somewhere in my day. And then lastly, sleep is so important. I think the most important thing is consistent bedtime and consistent waking time. So if you can go to bed and wake up within the same hour, majority of the time, you're already setting yourself up for success. As you get into the holiday season where we're eating out more, we're eating maybe foods that are more out of our control, things like that. Control the things that you can, your sleep, your hydration, your movement, your connection to yourself, and do your best in the other places. And so I really just wanted to highlight that so that the season doesn't feel more like a stressor than it needs to. Use these things as your outlet to set yourself up for a season that you don't neglect yourself, that you don't just run through all of your energy stores, burn through your adrenals, and get to the new year and just feel like you're totally depleted. So I wanted to highlight that and remind you all that we're all in this season together. We have some really fun talks coming up in B community. And this is just a great place to connect with others that are in the same chapter as you, and figure out what's working for them and support the ones who haven't figured that out yet, who are struggling. So anyways, that's it from me. I don't know if Lori or Hannah have anything on here. Otherwise, we'll wrap up. But feel free to reach out. Lots of questions came through this month. All the answers are in the chats. We're always here, always available. And you'll be seeing, more of us before the end of the year. I see that Maria just hopped on. Hi, Maria. Maria, I was just finishing up chatting. We had a quick call, but if you have a question or if you want to chat about something, now is a great time to throw it in there. Otherwise, if you're just hopping on to listen, that's fine too. Thanks, Hannah. All right, guys. So I do want to say one thing. I know Hannah just hopped off we were just talking about, oh, yes. Okay, I'll get to that one second. Maria, I was just talking about end of the year, kind of my tips for not hitting burnout in the holiday season when things just tend to get a little crazy. The last thing I wanted to mention was protecting your energy with boundaries. And it's okay to say no to negative energy. So I just want to always encourage going into the holiday season, if it's not healthy for you to show up at a certain place, if it's not healthy for you to engage in certain conversations, if you need boundaries set, use the time now leading into that holiday season to get clear on what you need and to lay those boundaries, and know that you need to do that for yourself too. And maybe that's just like unsolicited advice or not wanting to be around certain family members in the season. Like, it's okay to take a year off. So I just wanted to encourage everyone there. But Maria is asking about Lindsay's birth story, if it'll be uploaded soon. Maria, yes, it is uploaded. Let me see if I can. If you have 2 seconds, I'll just look on our YouTube real quick and see if I can find it, and I'll show you the link. We probably posted it in the B community page, but not the others. So let me just take a quick look on our YouTube page. Oh, of course, I'm not on the BIRTHFIT one here. Let me look on my phone. B community or videos. Okay, birth story. Show video. Okay, I have the link copied. I'm going to send myself an email on my computer, and then I'll paste it in the chat here so that you have it. Compose. Sorry for the BIRTHFIT. Paste. Excuse me. Okay. Just sent myself an email. And let me open my email now. Okay. Okay, waiting for it to come through. So I will post that as soon as I have it if you want to hang out for a second. But if you guys don't have, oh, I see it. Of course, right when I get off of it. There it is. Copy and paste. All right, that's it. Let me know that you get that. And if you guys don't have any other questions, we can hop off. If there is anything else, we can definitely chat. Cool. Awesome. Enjoy that. Let us know if you have questions. We have, Maria, I mentioned in the beginning, but we have our monthly B community calls. You're probably not in B community. You're probably in just one of the programs. But if you want to hop on during B community calls, just shoot info@birthfit.com and email and let them know that you'd like the link, and we'll get you the link for it. If that helps, tell them I said that. And then, oh, I just got one more question if y'all want to hang out. Thoughts on how to go about us. Okay. Thoughts on how to go about a second pregnancy with history of preterm labor with first baby. I'm just going to share what's being written here. It's been really interesting listening to my OB on the protocol with history of preterm labor. The beginning of this year, they were doing progesterone shots starting at 16 weeks every week and cervical checks each week. Now they have shown the progesterone does not prevent preterm labor. So I'm just going to go weekly. I'm just going to go week by week and see how I feel and go from there. I will know my body a little better this time, I think. All right, let's talk about that. So just because you went into preterm labor with your first baby does not necessarily mean that that is going to be the same for the second. There's also a lot going into that that could have encouraged some preterm labor. Obviously, babies come when they desire to come, but there can be some things that might pressure them to come a little bit. I have a lot of questions, but ultimately, one thing that I see often and anecdotally, I mean, people that I've worked with, moms that I've worked with, this has been super successful for. I see a lot of moms who, I don't want to say like malnourished, but who aren't getting enough nourishment or calories tend to go into labor earlier. So my first recommendation is eating more protein, getting more grams of protein in per day. We have seen, and my midwife has backed this up, she's the one that talked to me about it, pregnancies last a lot longer in those who experienced preterm labor when they started upping their calories, especially their protein. So I would highly recommend upping protein. Other things, like I mentioned earlier on this call, hydrating with minerals, just making sure fluid levels and hydration and everything in the body is needed, because our bodies are smart and they're going to protect baby. And if anything is off, body might want to get the baby out. So I think hydrating on a cellular level with minerals. And I think, again, like I love Aussie Trace Minerals is a good generic one that most people tolerate. And you can get that on Amazon. And then adding protein. The other things that I would do is in that third trimester, if you're starting to feel more contractions, even if Braxton Hicks are picking up, contractions is in like Braxton Hicks, more pressure. A, we want to get off the feet. We want to rest a little bit more. But B, upping magnesium can be super, super helpful. I know the birth center here has some herbs that help labor not happen. So I've actually mailed those out to different states for some moms. And then I think less is more. So it like pains me to hear that they're doing, cervical checks each week, because that's not really telling us anything. Um, the more we get in there and poke and prod and feel things out, the more we're disrupting that space. So I think if you feel good about waiting it out, not getting up in there and just letting things take its course, but also controlling the things that you can control, I think that's great. Also remembering that we're going off of a due date that is generic, right? So we're taking 2 weeks past our missed period or our missed bleed, essentially. People ovulate at different times. So if it's a week or so off in either direction, you probably ovulated at a different time, and that's very normal. So just remembering that, in general, 95% of women don't give birth on their estimated due date. It's a week off before or after. So when you say preterm, could have been 36 weeks, but accurately it was more 37. So those would be kind of my tips: the protein, upping calories, upping protein, you go pee-pee, sweetie? Okay, go. Upping the way that you're hydrating with minerals. And then I would say in that third trimester, just really being in tune with the body, taking it a little bit easier, getting off the feet, upping magnesium. And if you need to know more about the herbs that I mentioned, I can definitely ask my midwife what they're called, but I have been known to mail them out. And it's helped. Everyone that I've sent them to has definitely gone a little bit farther. So those are my tips. And with that, I'm done. But thank you all for coming or listening, and we'll be back next month, but we also have a big community call next month too. So email us, let us know if you want to hop on those. Otherwise we will see you around. Bye guys.